Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, to begin with, I can confirm that I did receive the J88, the unredacted J88, as well as the medical report. I haven't yet studied it closely. I received it this morning, but it will be made available to the commissioners during the adjournment. So, Chair, I think we should then just begin and proceed with the plan on the presentation of the evidence that the evidence leaders are of the view may be presented in open session. As I indicated, Chair, on Wednesday, I proposed to place before the Commission certain aspects of the evidence concerning General Khan, on which I would have questioned him had he been present. The evidence includes material that's already been included in the Commission's answering affidavit in the urgent application that was brought by General Khan last month. So it's material that's already been publicly disclosed. But some aspects of evidence that I will traverse are not included in the material that's in the answering affidavit, but is relevant to the terms of reference, of course, but also related to the topics that we covered in the answering affidavit and the questions that we posed to General Khan in the Regulation 10.6 notice. So in broad outline, what I propose to cover are a series of tenders and tender activity, which will emerge from our analysis of the chats. The chats are not confined to the chat with Mr. Mo Sayed, extends also to a series of conversations between Major General Khan and a Mr. Ismail Vali. I will then deal with the topic of abuse of authority. And under the overall heading of abuse of authority, there are a number of sub-pieces of evidence that we will cover. And I won't go into the detail now. We'll get there when we get there. There's the issue of what we've called the Mashazi trip. As the Commission is aware, we've already heard evidence from this witness, and the Commission has some information regarding a trip to London, a weekend trip to London, which also emerges from some of the conversations with General Khan. And finally, the topic of the financial disclosures. We have had some engagement with General Khan's representatives on the finances. What we propose to do is cover the aspects that we think we can cover in open hearing, and that is not the subject of dispute when it comes to the financial disclosures at this stage. So that's the broad outline of the topics that we are going to cover. These are not all the topics, however, to be covered. That related to General Khan. There are some aspects of the evidence that we've seen that the evidence leaders will seek to lead in camera. And the reason for this is, there are at least three reasons for this. The first is some of the evidence concerns ongoing criminal investigation, and it will require us to traverse contents of SAPS dockets which we cannot disclose publicly. It will jeopardize the investigations, it will jeopardize individuals. The second is that some aspects of the evidence contain sensitive material that also can't be led publicly in any sensible manner. For example, evidence that contains a series of voice notes where we aren't able to redact it. But it's important for the commissioners to have access to that evidence. The third is that there is evidence that may we don't know for a fact, but that it may pose a risk to the safety of individuals. And it's not in the interests of, it's not in anyone's interest, and it's certainly not the evidence leader's intention to be reckless in relation to this repository of evidence that we have. And so where we are of the view that there may be a risk of threats to safety of particular individuals, we will seek to lead that evidence in camera. And of course, finally, in his in-camera application, General Khan himself stated that the unrestricted disclosure of some of the evidence will pose risks, and substantial threat is what he said to lives. We cannot dismiss that out of hand, of course. We must take it seriously. So to that end, Chair, there will be an application filed in the course of today for that body of evidence on the in-camera. So that's just to set out where we plan to go as a whole with the evidence relating to Major General Khan. I must also say, before I begin with the presentation, is that there may be an explanation for the evidence that I'm about to present. General Khan has indicated, again in his in-camera application and in response to the Commission's, he didn't file a replying affidavit to our answer, but he's indicated that some of the evidence relates to crime intelligence operations and informants. That may be so. Of course, if the evidence does concern a crime intelligence operation, one would expect it to have been formally registered as such and conducted in accordance with the applicable protocols and prescripts. But all I'm saying for the moment, Chair, is that there may be an explanation, and we look forward to hearing the answers and explanation from Major General Khan when he's able to provide that. So, Chair, then let me begin with the first topic, which is the tenders. And again, I must preface this introduction of this evidence. It's to clarify that it is not a